Bad mind, like jealousy and envy, is a human phenomenon that is universally understood. The contextual component of bad mind was hypothesized to be a situation in which someone's possession is desired by another and is often aligned with malicious intent. Consequently, in a capitalist society, emotions akin to bad mind are so potent due to the gap between the haves and the have-not.
Do you remember the first time you heard the term bad mind? Well, I can remember the first time I heard the term bad mind. It was one Sunday, parents took me to church, sat at the front of the church, us as children, and a little girl said to me, "Can I see your bag?" I said, "Yes, of course. Here is my bag." She looks at my bag and I was like, "Lovely. Can I see your bag?" And she's like, "No." And I'm like, "What do you mean no?" So there was a little bit of a tussle back and forth. And I just remember my father pulling me out of the church, right out here on these steps right here. And he slapped me multiple times on my hand. And he's like, "JJ, I'm gonna tell you, so you're not for bad mind. You see people with them things, if you leave it alone." Mommy, do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, how old was I?
6, 7.
What really happened, Mommy?
Me and your father thought it was, you want her bag.
Right.
But apparently now we have it all wrong because you was looking on her bag.
Right.
And then because...
But she looked at my bag first.
Yeah, I know she looked at your bag, but because she wanted to see her bag as well. But she didn't want to show you her bag.
Yeah.
But you started to hold her bag and drag the bag. And then that's what that's when your father come along now and take you outside and give you a couple slap.
Well, do you know that was the first time I got beaten? Ever. And it was the last time. And I just remember distinctively him saying to me, "You're not for bad mind. I teach you not for bad mind." And the whole time I'm like, "You've never told me that word. Like, what is bad mind?" And then as a child, you're 6, 7 years old, you're thinking, so my mind is rotten? Like, what is that about? But anyways, fast forward. Your upbringing, was that a reason why you are humble or why you've never compared yourself with other people or watch what other people have?
Yes, because they grow up in a way that we're not supposed to envy anybody. If somebody has something, you don't envy that person for what they have.
It is said that if you want to find bad mind people, go in at the church. Why them say that?
Yeah, because some people are saved, but they are not delivered. Because they still do the things of the world, the same things, same bad mind, grudgeful, covetous, envy, because they are not transformed, they are still conformed to the things of the world. In 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17 he said, "Therefore if any man be in Christ, he is a new creature. All things are passed away, and behold, all things are become new." Because as becoming a child of God, as a Christian, the old things just diminish out of your life, and you must always have the newness of Christ. When you walk on the road, you must say, "There goes a child of God."
How do you navigate through life, even when people are against you and covetous?
Well, I pray for them, and if I can tell them about the Lord, because some people, they just talk about the Lord, but they don't have a relationship. And in Galatians 5, it said the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace. So therefore you have that, even when people talk about you, you're still bubbling with Jesus, because you just have that the light of the Lord just continue shining on you at all time. So when they talk, it doesn't matter you. You just continue to shine and live for God, because this is all.
Look, the tears, Mommy. Oh, I'm so proud of you. We can kiss your ears. Ah, proud of you. Good stuff. Love you. I am blessed. Pastor Sherman, isn't it good to be in the house of the Lord?
It is indeed a pleasure, and especially for me, it's all ground. When I just got married, this is where I came for 6 months. So it's a joy to be back here as well.
Right, I grew up in this church.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's old stomping ground for both of us,
Wow,
right?
wow.
All right, so I'm going to get right into it.
Yes,
What is the biblical definition of covet and covetousness?
Okay, this is a very broad word because it covers both good and bad. Because the Apostle Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians chapter 12 that you're to covet good gifts or the best gifts. So the word covet, even though it has a negative side to it, there's also a positive side to it here. The word covetous here says a very strong or inordinate desire for obtaining and possessing something that is supposed to be good. Let me just read this very carefully. Jesus said in Mark chapter 7, out of the heart proceedeth covetousness. So therefore, I have to ask the Holy Spirit to examine my motive. Remember now, the mind is short-term and short-lived, but the heart is long-term and long-lived.
What is the difference between covetousness, bad mind?
Okay, so when you talk about bad mind,
Right.
you're not talking about anything that is surface here. You're talking about something that has depth.
Deep,
It's
deep.
You know, very, very deep. It not only stems from being envious, right? It moves to a higher level. It takes a whole new different dimension. And what that does, you become passionate or inclined or be driven, and I'm using the word driven here, right? Because you're not being led. David said, he leadeth me, right? That's different. God leads, but Satan drives, right? So the person now is now driven by this desire to interfere and to intercept. And I'm choosing my words here very, very carefully.
I know.
Right. Where other person's progress is concerned. And this will become deadly. Because what you will do, that means you will go at any distance,
any length,
just to, oh my God, to sabotage people's progress and success. One more thing, and I'll leave this with you. Ephesians 2:7. Oh my God. The word there, kindness, in Ephesians 2:7, where it says, for by grace are you saved through faith. Right? And it says, come on, this is really interesting. It talks about the word kindness there, comes from the Greek word philanthropia, from which you get the English word philanthropy, from who you have now philanthropist.
Yeah.
And a philanthropist is one who uses their resources for the development of others. Once that is correct and the base is correct, that becomes the platform for launching. And guess what? Bad mind have to run.
Runway. Thank you, Pastor.
Them bad mind energy, I be a bad
Dr. Taylor, do you believe that agents of socialization, school, has an impact on how it is that we deal on a daily basis, how we grow, who we become?
I've been a sociologist for most of my adult life, and that's one of the fundamental tenets, that you are the product of your environment, but school carries out secondary socialization, extremely important. So I am definitely a product of St. Patrick's Primary and St. George's College, no doubt.
What has been the post-colonial impact of bad mind?
Bad mind is something that is historically part of our socialization.
Right.
It's no accident why we got to this point, you know.
Right, slavery.
Yes, and slavery has continued. Big part of what we are slaves. We are still mentally enslaved. We look at our country, we look at the people with our pigmentation, we look at people with our accents, etc. And when we look at these people and we say things which are the most derisive, we don't like to believe good things about ourselves, unfortunately. Just think about the rich pastors. Yes, them too.
The rich pastors.
You can't be a rich pastor, talk to me. I'd not listen.
Why?
Because it is almost impossible to be rich, and worst of all, to be rich from the gospel.
Yeah, but we live in a capitalist society.
You can't be. Let the capitalists do what they're doing, but don't be taking my tithes and taking my money and taking the money of the poor people and be living rich and be emphasizing being rich. There is nothing in the teaching of Jesus that supports a rich pastor. Never said that you must die of hunger, but you can't be rich. It's
What?
service. Empathy is natural. So if you are not empathetic, it means that you are bad-minded. So anything whereby you have a mind where you want something for other people that you wouldn't want for yourself in a negative way, that's bad mind. And the reverse is true.
So then, do you think it's learned?
Yes, absolutely. Being cruel to someone is unnatural. Willing to do harm to someone else is unnatural. And thank God the majority of people don't have bad mind, thank God for that.
Right,
Because
can you imagine?
The anarchy? So guess what? I think that if you have bad mind, mostly it's your mother teacher.
Really?
Yes! You think about just how important the mother is. Never mind all this foolishness about female-headed household and all of that. That's not what it is. It is the young men who are mistreated by their mothers that are the worst. So if you are treated properly by your mother or by a mothering figure, then you're very likely to be properly socialized and not do any other nonsense. It's the women, the mothers in the inner cities that keep the boys out of crime.
What is your message to young men and young women for all facets of life?
Strip yourself naked and look at yourself in the mirror and like what it is that you have. You can't make yourself into anything that you are not. You are you. Liking yourself doesn't mean that you are selfish, because you are so comfortable with yourself that you are able to do things for other people. Right? And the second part of it is just believing that you can do whatever you want to do. And you'll be willing enough and be patient enough, because even this shall pass away. So take your time. Most people, if they put their head to what they're studying for, will make it through school. And the best vehicle, absolute best vehicle of upward mobility is being educated. It's not a guarantee, but it's best chance. More likely if you come from anywhere that you're going to succeed for having gone to school than if you're sitting out of a studio hoping that one day you're going to get a bus. And I don't mean the one that's going to hit you over.
Indeed. It was a pleasure.
It is.
Remember days we a walk through the stormy weather. We not fall away now.
Hi, welcome to Psychology Off, Joe.
Good to be here.
Bad mind.
Yeah.
What is your perspective on that? We're chill, we're not the streets, we're not the ghetto. I want to hear your opinion.
Well, as you say, we're not the ghetto, you see me? So, bad mind, like a commonly used term in the ghetto, like top three in the ghetto vocabulary, you get me? Say so. It's a thing that we all know, we're all familiar with, we've all experienced. Yeah, it's definitely not a good thing, but it's something that you can't seem to get rid of, especially in the streets.
How have you dealt with that?
I really just ignore it still, because really and truly, for you to like meds it, it'll be like adding fire to the flame, because people love when you do that. People love when you pay attention to negatives like that. Like basically them say them a draw you out. You get me? I say?
Yeah.
And I'm in a shoes lace to get me.
No,
so,
definitely not.
Yeah.
Don't want to be that. That not sound good.
Not at all. You get me? So if somebody a bad mind, that means you do something good for them bad mind.
Facts.
You get what I say?
Facts.
Yeah.
You remember the first time you heard the term bad mind?
I was pretty young, so it's like vague, fresh in my mind. But I remember it.
You remember it. And at that time, what did you think about the term?
A big people conversation, them did have it, I'm never supposed to hear them at all.
Oh, so you were
Yeah.
eavesdropping?
Definitely.
Okay.
I think one of the things that you have to do, you have to wake up every day, you have to say to yourself, say, why, if you depend on somebody else, like, to make you happy or, like, for determine a day, people are crosses, People ruin a day, You say if you want to secure yourself and pray from another morning and say, hey, make have a good day.
It's a
That
road.
one person there just throw up your whole. You have to remind yourself every day, say, are you are the air team? Are you are on your show, nobody else on your show.
Have you ever bad-minded somebody?
No, I'm all about positivity all the time.
Yeah.
You see me? I always try to be like that influential towards persons, like, try to be helpful, try to go about the right way about situations. This is one thing I always tell people, like, you have persons that will increase or decrease you and neutralize you. So it's either them going to elevate you, demotivate you, or grow with you. You get what I say?
No cap.
So, bad mind, no, that's not my thing. I'm all about good vibe.
In your opinion and experience, do you find that bad mind is more prevalent in the community or in the workplace?
I think it's more evident in the community because there's a more small space. You understand? And everybody tends to watch each other. Everyone wants to achieve, everyone wants to reach their full potential. So not everyone going to be a Damien Stewart, not everyone going to be someone like a prime minister who's going to elevate themselves.
What message would you give to other young mothers?
Well, what I would say to other young mothers, we know that it's not easy. It's pretty hard, worse when you're a single mom.
Right.
So I know sometimes they don't have anybody around you to say, hey, you know, I got your back and stuff like that. But looking at your kid, you know that you want them to be somebody better than you are. So keep looking at your kid and know that, hey, this is my main motivation to keep going every day.
Yeah.
And that will get you by, and always put God first.
Amen. Coach, may I try to figure out why another man or your virgin, as somebody you call your friend, can be happy for your success?
Sometimes I wonder that myself too. Come on, why you pour out your heart and show them love.
Right.
And then the day when you get back the strength and the same love, you don't see it.
Which is, I guess, why there are so many songs
Songs,
about
you know
it.
what I mean?
Because of reality.
Because people are facing it every day, even the artists then.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, good or bad, you have people like a bad mind the same way.
What is your advice to other youths that are looking up to you?
Really, I tell them the truth, you know. It don't really make sense to pick up violence, because that's not really gone away. You have to just be yourself and know where you want out of life, make you and your friend and your family happy. You see me? Because the bag of gun thing, it's not going away.
No.
Just one place, prison under the ground, and you left people at ball. You see me? So I tell them to just find yourself and you will know what you want out of life. You see me?
Yeah. Real talk.
True.
Blessings.
Man.
Bad mind and jealousy just get defeat.
Dr. Jair Lyons, but I call you Coach. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into the industry?
I am by profession a physical therapist, and getting into the fitness profession, I started working out for myself alongside with doing my physical therapy degree, and then it turned into, profession when I started training a patient of mine for rehabilitation purposes, and after that, it bloomed into a boot camp, and then from boot camp to this gym. It just naturally progressed along the way. It's about 7 to 8 years I've been doing this, and it's metamorphosized into Fitness 876.
Okay, the magic pill, how much is it? Where can I pick it up?
Well, we could
Where's the
we
magic
could talk
pill, Doc?
Bitcoin, and then we could talk about, no, there's no magic pill for this.
What is your definition of the term bad mind?
Bad mind is when somebody sees something and necessarily wants it but can't have it, so they kind of grudge or, kind of hate on the person that has it. Bad mind can take many forms.
Right. How do you see that manifesting in your community of fitness?
So in my community of fitness, there is not much bad mind. In my community of fitness, it's more like an aspiration towards. So if somebody has a 315 deadlifts, another member would be like, I want that. So it's not necessarily like a bad mind, but more like an aspiration. Where you see bad mind in the fitness or fitness and aesthetic realm is where people look at other people and wonder, how come she's so slim and she eat like that? Or, how come him run so fast and, I don't. So it's more along those lines that bad mind kind of play into the whole fitness realm.
Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coaching me.
Friendship me no one. Tell them go and go. As long as
Psychology of Cheer Chat.
This Cheer Chat guest, Christopher Johnny Daly. Actor, comedian, TV personality, radio personality, film, video, television. Okay.
You can't hear it?
You get it, right? Let's chat.
I'll give him the budget. Yo, what's up, people? What's going on?
Listen, we're happy to have you.
It's a pleasure to be
really
here.
happy to have you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I know you.
You do?
Because I grew.
Is that
like
a good
I grew
thing?
up. Yes,
Yeah.
Don't say you grow up, please. Don't say that. Don't
No,
ever say that.
Me never did.
Don't do that
I
age
don't
thing.
know,
If you do that age
me
thing,
never did.
don't say I feel like,
No,
look how
I feel-
young I look. Look how nice I look. Don't
You
do
look
that.
young
to me.
and fresh.
Talk to me.
I have a question. I have a question for you.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to ask the first question.
Go ahead.
Ask the first question.
Let me out. All right.
Let him out.
What was it? Like, me watch you take steps through the industry from ever since, right? So we know the hardships that you've had to overcome in order to get to the level that you are at. And because of that, you have a whole heap of comedians coming up that emulate you and that look to you as, you know, the man of the moment.
Yeah.
As the big man in the field.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, how does one draw the line? Because we kind of touched on it a little bit before, but how does one draw the line between ambition and bad mind?
And admiration.
Okay. Yeah, so you can kind of feel admiration differently. The energy comes differently from bad mind. Bad mind is when them try to stop your food. Bad mind is when them try to tear down your good name. Bad mind is when they try to, as them say,
I feel like I should write
them
it
try
down.
to
You should
measure up.
make notes.
Or them
We
try
take notes.
measure up. You know, when somebody try to measure up, like them say, you know, say, him not so. You know, it's particularly when you know how much you've influenced that particular person's career.
Yeah.
But you know, bad mind is a thin line because bad mind is fuel for me. You know, bad mind is always active in the field of entertainment.
Bad
mind is active.
Bad mind is active. You know what I mean? That's the way that I want to live. Because guess what? It's fuel.
Yeah.
I take bad mind as fuel. Because people don't throw stones at green mangoes, you know. Mango them ripe. You know what I mean? So when my career ripe and people attack the things that me, people start to, oh, the boy, the Johnny. At that time, I realized that, you know, me think hot.
Yeah.
Me think hot, you know. People are trying to be me. People want to be me. People are emulating.
I have a question now.
Yeah.
So, when you started your career, young?
Yeah.
I mean, you're still
Very young.
young.
Thank you. She's throwing the compliment.
Hey, I want to figure out for you your motivation at that time. Who was your motivation?
Yeah.
And what was your feeling towards that person?
Awesome. So, you know, recently I paid tribute to Ronnie Williams because he was celebrating 109 years old. And the reason why I did that was because that's who I am. I always like to pay tribute to those who did it before me, on whose shoulders I stand. That's the kind of grounding I have coming into the business.
Dr. Rose, do you see that people who are appreciative, and I know in your book, you talk about gratitude. Do you see that people who are grateful and are appreciative of those that stood before them are less covetous and envious of others, would you say?
That's a very good question. I can't say if they are less or more, but I know definitely that gratitude plays a major role in you becoming all that you can be, and even acknowledging that there are persons that you admire versus you are envious of.
Correct.
And that's a completely different energy. And just listening to Johnny talk a while ago, I could sense from him how grateful he was for that opportunity to be among so many great artists and then emulating them.
We all get to a point in our careers where we feel like we're at the top.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, we were talking about the big money here, so it's plenty hits, right?
Plenty, yes.
I want to see the stage shows, right? I will know the journey, because we know the journey.
Yeah, we know it.
From the rehearsal time till we're on a top superstar. Like,
Yeah.
I know that journey.
Yeah.
And so I recognized that they became superstars. I'm in a different genre, but I could recognize the growth.
Right.
Sometimes as an entertainer, creative spirit, you recognize your growth. You realize you're at a certain level, mastery level in your craft. You realize that. But then you see a youngster on the come up, and you recognize that that youngster is also at a level where you could say, I'm welcoming you to the master level, because you do the thing, we really appreciate this. You think I shoot brother or sister. And sometimes the old fogies want to hold on to being the top.
Yeah.
And to me, that's when we start misinterpreting some of the ambitions of our peers.
Yes.
Bad mind.
Johnny, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
It's always laughter. Your presence is amazing. Thank you.
Respect. Hey, let's keep doing this, yeah? Big up for yourself. We can finish my drink though.
Yeah, please finish the drink. Thanks.
On the final episode of Psychology of
Bad mind is a dangerous thing.
Earliest days of Sunday school, Cain killing brother over bad mind.
Because every artist sing about bad mind, so you know it's a dance hall full of bad mind.
Bye.